Hello there, YouTube people. Thanks for watching my channel again and paying attention to my incendiary, valueless ramblings about life, the universe and everything. I invented this technology last year because I'm a fucking genius and no one really understands how my brain works, which is sad because that demographic includes me, but it does work quite well, and when it does work quite well, it's very useful. As a technology I stumbled across when I was trying to look at the properties of magenta or pink or fuchsia. It's a colour that doesn't actually exist in science, so it's created by our eyes from a mixture of blue spectrum and red spectrum. That's why the old cathode ray TVs were called RGB. It was red, green and blue, and that was how they used to make all the colours of the rainbow, including pink, which doesn't exist. So if you use the spectrometer and you try to analyse the colour of something pink, it will simply tell you that it's a mixture of blue and red photons. Pink is a colour which there is no pink in the rainbow, you might have noticed. It's very specific. Magenta is the name of a colour that doesn't exist, and I've called the technology imagenta. Most people don't really understand it because it doesn't exist in any technological application on the earth at the moment, but it's probably one of the most versatile and valuable bits of technology that's been created in the last 100 years. I kind of want to sell it, and give the money away to people and worthy causes, but also just want to kind of give it away and just want somebody to do something with it because I'm completely fucked. I've been sectioned about 10 times and I'm not a physics professor, so I'd just get laughed out of the room if they tried to ask me questions about how it works or why it works. Here's a brief description of what it is. So it's deep tissue imaging called imagenta by upconversion nanoparticles, a new era in medical optical imaging. So the executive summary is that this technology represents a breakthrough in official imaging, allowing medical professionals to see several millimeters deep into living tissue with unprecedented clarity. By combining rare earth upconversion nanoparticles with near-infrared laser light, the system bypasses the fundamental limitations of traditional optical imaging, specifically tissue scattering and background noise. Key takeaway: we can now generate sharp, background-free 3D images deep inside the body in real time, bridging the gap between shallow cellular microscopy and broadly whole body scans. So the science is sequential photon absorption. So at the heart of this invention is a process called non-linear upconversion. Traditional fluorescent imaging involves single photon excitation, which creates a significant background scatter. This new method uses tiny nanoparticles doped with rare earth elements like ytterbium, erbium or thulium to alter how light is processed. So the near-infrared excitation. The system uses safe, invisible NIR light, that's about 808 nanometers or 908 nanometers. NIR light passes through biological tissue much more easily than visible light, acting as an optical tissue window. Sequential absorption. Unlike standard fluorescent dyes, these rare earth nanoparticles contain actual intermediate energy levels. They act like a ladder, absorbing multiple low energy infrared photons sequentially, one after the other. Then you've got a high energy emission. So once enough low energy photons are accumulated, the nanoparticles release a single higher energy photon, typically visible in shortwave infrared light. Pinpoint precision. Because the emission requires a high concentration of photons to trigger, the nanoparticles only glow at the exact intensely focused center of the laser beam. This creates incredibly sharp optical slices without illuminating the surrounding area, overcoming traditional limitations. So this system solves a massive roadblock in conventional bioimaging. So you've got zero autofluorescence, so anti-Stokes emission. In layman's terms, what that means is biological tissue that naturally glows autofluoresces when exposed to standard light, but like an ultrasound, creating heavy background noise because the UCNPs emit light at a higher energy or shorter wavelength than they absorb. So they perform an anti-Stokes shift. Human tissue does not naturally do this, meaning the nanoparticles glow against an entirely dark, noise-free background. But with adaptive optics and guide stars, as light travels through tissue, it scatters and blurs. This technology borrows a concept from astronomy. Just as telescopes use artificial lasers as guide stars to correct for the distortion of Earth's atmosphere, the glowing nanoparticles act as biological guide stars. The system reads the distorted light coming from the nanoparticles and instantly adjusts its own optics to cancel out the blur, maintaining perfect focus deep within the tissue. Technological and economic advantages. Not that interested in these really, but they are good. Traditional deep tissue optical methods like 2-photon microscopy require incredibly expensive and complex equipment. This upconversion technology drastically lowers the barrier to entry for clinical laboratory use. So sort of laser types required traditional multi-photon imaging. UCNP technology, UCNP is much better than the traditional version. You can just read that in your own time, pause the YouTube video if you need to. The ability to look millimeters deep into tissue without physical incisions opens massive opportunities for both diagnostics and surgical intervention. So image-guided surgery, surgeons can precisely map tumour margins in real time, ensuring all cancerous tissue is removed while healthy tissue is spared. Vascular mapping, high resolution tracking of blood vessels to detect anomalies, blockages, or the vascular supply feeding a tumour. Also got photodynamic therapy. UCMPs can be used not just to see, but to treat. By emitting specific visible wavelengths deep inside a tumour, they can activate light-sensitive drugs directly at the cancer site, minimising systematic side effects. Also, it has a non-invasive diagnostic, so doctors can optically biopsy tissue just below the skin or surgical surface, avoiding the need for physical tissue removal and lab wait times. Thanks for watching, bye.